and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. Tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw was historic for all the wrong reasons. As we are all facing this worldwide crisis, we had to sit down tonight and see Monday Night Raw emanate from the Performance Center live in front of absolutely nobody. And I guess the WWE didn't find any real reason to make it that great. We had a couple of interesting promo segments on the evening, but when you give me a replay of the Royal Rumble, this year's Royal Rumble, for more than half of the show, that's some lazy Bush League stuff, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
You know, I understand that it's a very hard time right now for everybody in the world. I can imagine it's extremely hard for them in the WWE to try to come up with something to put together for a show 3 hours long, live, on cable television for the world to see. I can imagine that's not a very easy thing to do. And now when you came into Friday Night SmackDown and it was in front of nobody, and it was weird, and you figured they were going to tweak it somehow by the time they got to Raw. That was their first time, experiencing this. Maybe by the time we get to Monday Night Raw, we'll have a little bit better structure. They have 3 full days to try to come up with something, and I kind of had a little bit of faith in them. I don't know why I did that to myself. I only set myself up for the downfall. I had a little bit of faith in the WWE to come up with something a little bit better. But Monday night's episode is way worse than what they gave us on Friday. Mainly because it's 316. It's 316. It's Austin 316 Day. By the way, did you know it's Austin 316 Day? I don't think Jerry the King Lawler could have said that shit enough. And you got Austin coming to Monday Night Raw tonight. Instead of having him sit around all night and wait to come out and do a ridiculously written, I don't know what the hell that was. They wrote a bunch of lame jokes for Stone Cold to read about what makes 316 days so important, March 16th, and it was awful. And you got Byron Saxton grading Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who gives Byron Saxton the authority to grade Stone Cold's jokes? This was a forced, ridiculous segment. It was a little bit entertaining. But why not follow what you did on Friday? You had Triple H sitting in on ringside as commentary for whatever was going on live. Why didn't you do that for Steve? This night was his night. You don't think the rest of the evening would have been made a hell of a lot more entertaining if we had Stone Cold Steve Austin sitting there instead of Asuka sitting there yelling, "Yay, Andrade! Yay! This is what you decided to give us? What the hell was she even doing out there watching an Andrade versus Rey Mysterio match anyway?" We're getting off topic. We'll get back on that. But how do you not make this show entertaining? Okay, they had a very great opening segment with Edge. They did something interesting for once with the contract signing between AJ Styles and The Undertaker. Outside of that, this was nothing, especially since it was mostly the Royal Rumble, and that is unacceptable. You would think that a company that wants so badly to be an entertainment company would be able to pull together a show with 3 days' time to work on it that would actually be worth watching. Take notes from some of the other things that are going on. Look at what NWA Power has been doing. Why not set up a little small studio? Have just Tom Phillips there. Have him do one-on-one interviews, try to get the matches over. And in the way the world is nowadays, and the way technology is just out of control, why not? Why not have the talent do their own stuff from home? Give them basic bullet points. Say, listen, you have this, this, and this. I need you to get these points across. Say it in your own words. Film it however you want to film it. Wherever you want to film it. Have it in our mailbox, in our email by Monday morning, and we'll put it on the show. We can edit it into the show. Do you know how much more interesting things we would have that way? Go film a little something happening outside in the real world. Let the talent express themselves freely in their own words. I think that would be much more interesting than giving us the Royal Rumble. I mean, I want to be fair. What they put on for us live, with the exception of Andrade and Ray with the Oscar commentary, was all pretty well done. And it would have made for a nice episode of Monday Night Raw if it was in its usual surroundings. The fans would have went nuts for a lot of this stuff, even for the corny Stone Cold stuff. But I think they wrote that shit for him because he didn't have a crowd to work with. And instead of having him go out there and try to deliver stupid punchlines and stun Byron Saxton and drink beer with Becky Lynch, why not just have him go off? Just go out there and have fun, Steve. Talk shit about people. Excuse me. Run people down. Say whatever you want about whoever you want. Just make it fun. Be entertaining. Be Steve Austin. I don't know. I feel bad shitting on these shows because I understand the situation that it's in, and not having the crowd makes these shows just feel awful, which makes me really, really scared about the fate of WrestleMania. It was announced just before Raw went on the air that WrestleMania is going to be held in the very same way we've been seeing Raw and SmackDown. Now, I am firmly in the camp that thinks that WrestleMania should not have been canceled, but it should have at least indefinitely been postponed. And whether it's 3, 6 months from now, whenever we get the all clear and everything is healthy and business can return to normal, the first thing they should come at us with is WrestleMania. And they don't have to maintain the fucking storylines. Kill these storylines. They are all trash. Have what was supposed to be WrestleMania be called WWE in your house. How funny would that be? We're all stuck at home. Everybody's got to stay home. We're going to give you in your house. And then you have all these little singles matches that you're putting together. You can have Owens versus Rollins, Drew versus Brock, AJ versus Taker. All of these matchups that you want to have them. Don't call it WrestleMania. And then as soon as you come out, boom. First event back, WrestleMania. Wherever it is that you have planned, you don't have to change anything. I'm sorry to the city of Tampa. You guys missed out on all that revenue. But whatever it is you are lined up to be for that city, for that weekend, on your comeback, you make it a WrestleMania. If you don't want to do it in one show, you don't want to do it in a pay-per-view, make it WrestleMania week. Do half on Monday for Raw, do the other half on Friday. Live on fucking television. Just because of what's happened. But call it WrestleMania, don't call it Raw. So we got part 1 of WrestleMania will be Monday, part 2 of WrestleMania will be Friday, live. And from then on, then you can plan next year's WrestleMania when things go back to normal. Why not do something like that? Why do we have to have WrestleMania in front of nobody? With no fans, there's no ambiance. There's no atmosphere. Undertaker's going to come out. Nobody's going to give a shit because nobody's going to be there. The big pop for Edge at WrestleMania is going to have a triumphant WrestleMania return. High profile match against Randy Orton. Nobody's going to be there to scream, to yell, to cheer for Edge, to boo the shit out of Randy Orton. And the only person that truly wins by this going on the way it's going on is Vince McMahon. And the reason why that is probably obvious to most of you, because most of my fans have a brain. And you know, one of the main reasons why he's pushing this to go forward is because he's taking advantage of the situation that he finds himself in. Vince McMahon is a very smart man. And he knows if we just push forward with WrestleMania, continue on course as if nothing is happening, we'll have the Roman and Goldberg match. Roman will win. I'll be happy. And I won't have to hear the boos of the crowd. I won't have to deal with fan backlash live at the show. You're still going to hear it. He's still going to hear it. But you see, Vince McMahon ignores the internet, so he doesn't care. But when he's sitting back there live and he has to feel that, he's not going to feel it. He's going to be sitting in the back. He's going to be whacking his grapefruits, watching Roman Reigns pin Bill Goldberg. Happiest man in the PC. Maybe he's second only to Roman Reigns himself. But when you fancy yourself to be an entertainment company, and you don't want to be wrestling anymore, it's amazing how little you guys can come up with without the wrestling part. Oh, we're entertainment now. It's sports entertainment. But you couldn't come up with another hour's worth of stuff. And that's why the hammer comes down. All in all, what they gave us tonight, though, whatever was live tonight, was not that bad. Let's talk about it a little bit. Not too much to really go over. The show started off with a promo by Edge that was simply fantastic. And Edge is much like we said about the Bray Wyatt John Cena encounter from Friday. This scenario from Edge was almost enhanced by the silence of the crowd. No, of the non-existence of the crowd, if we're being honest. I say silence of the crowd because it was as silent as you could ever imagine, and all you could hear was Edge. And the man looked at us. He wasn't looking at a crowd that wasn't there. He was locked into the camera, looking face to face with Randy Orton, but consequently locking eyes with all of us at home, and delivered this heartfelt promo, talking about how when he was introduced to Randy Orton by Cowboy Bob, he knew that their fates would be tied forever going forward. He talked about how they both learned so much from being involved with a guy like Mick Foley, which I thought was an interesting thing to bring into it. Edge mentioned everything that happened between he and Randy at the Royal Rumble, which we would then go on to see just a few minutes later. He said Randy Orton was bothered by the fact that Edge worked hard for everything that he accomplished in his professional wrestling career, and Randy Orton was simply handed everything. Big contrast in the way both of these men were brought up, and he says Orton is just jealous. He then said he sent Beth Phoenix to Monday Night Raw because Beth thought that it was unfair for Edge to have to retire twice. Beth Phoenix was out there last week to retire for Edge once again, but now Randy Orton's actions has forced Edge's hand. Randy Orton has single-handedly guaranteed the one thing he was trying to make not happen this whole time, which is a great little twist that they threw in there. And the man was just excellent with his delivery and Edge's facial expressions, the intensity in his eyes, just amazing. I miss it, and when I see it back on the TV, it is something that we've been missing so long in pro wrestling. These new stars of today just don't have that same grit. He likes that word, grit. We're going to use it too. And the stars of today don't have that grit. They don't have that inner fire that comes out in their promo delivery. I don't know what it is, but Edge makes you remember, oh yeah, that's what it's like when somebody's mad and when somebody gives a shit. And it's amazing. Edge takes WrestleMania's match with Randy Orton to the next level. We all knew they were going to have a match. We didn't know it was going to be last man standing. Edge lays out the challenge. We have yet to hear Randy Orton's response. We will be hearing it next week on Monday Night Raw, apparently. But a last man standing match in an arena that has nobody in it is going to have me feeling like I'm watching The Rock and Mankind from the Super Bowl halftime heat when they had the empty arena match. And while maybe not having the fans is not going to be a detriment to that match because it's... Well, I can't say that because even the empty arena match, as innovative and as different and as historic as it was, and many people have fond memories of it, it wasn't really that great, if you ask me, because without the crowd, I'm just watching a movie. A bad movie with no background noise. It's like the sound editors forgot to put the cars going down the street while the guys are talking on the middle of the road. You know what I mean? There's no feeling to the show. It's watching them go out there and practice. This is what practice sounds like. It's exactly what it sounds like in the Performance Center all day long. All you hear is and the clink and the clank of the ropes. And some people might find that interesting because you don't usually get to hear that due to all of the noise in a normal show. But being that I just spent the last year and a half in a wrestling school and that's all you hear is that noise, it's like I feel like I'm watching training. I feel like I'm at school. I feel like I don't feel like I'm watching wrestling. I did when Edge delivered this promo, which is why I appreciated it very much. They then showed Becky Lynch showing up on a giant tractor-trailer. Not a tractor-trailer, but a semi-truck front piece, whatever you call it. I don't know. I'm not a trucker, and I certainly don't care. And you gotta feel like this was supposed to lead to something bigger, and it would have had a better effect in an arena, obviously with fans, but she drives up in this big fancy truck with her face painted on the side and flames all down it, jumps out of the driver's seat, and nobody's there. Nobody cares. So they're filming everything as if they are still waiting for the fan reaction instead of tweaking it to be more like a TV show. And when you're an entertainment company, that makes me even more angry. Because you want to be Hollywood, but here you have a perfect opportunity to step in and deliver something different, and you fail. You fail. You give us the Royal Rumble match, the entire Royal Rumble match, with commercial breaks, with the regular every 10-minute commercial break segments. This thing began at 20 after 8 and it did not finish till almost 10 o'clock. That is almost 2 full hours of Monday Night Raw that was left empty by people who have zero creative ability to come up with ways to have an interesting, innovative, different type of show that would make people want to tune in. Why not do a studio show? I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. And you have the perfect host for tonight, Steve Austin. The whole entire night he should have been out there. Ridiculous. Finally, we got back to some real stuff. And it was AJ Styles and The Undertaker contract signing. Good stuff. Good stuff, except for how it began. Jerry the King Lawler, for some reason, had to be dragged out, even though he's high risk. They had to have him at the Performance Center to do this segment and to tell us bad jokes and to remind us 100 times that it was Austin 316 Day. He's out there and he's going to be the moderator. They introduced The Undertaker and he comes flying down. Now, I don't know if it's just because the rampway is so small or if he was really hightailing it to the ring because he was pissed off. But he was not dressed in his usual attire, looking a lot more like the American Badass, big, evil, incorporated Undertaker from those days, and that makes perfect sense. Some of you guys might not like it. I know a lot of you people don't like the American Badass gimmick. Some of you younger fans may not even be familiar with it, as the Undertaker used to come out as a biker. He was still the Undertaker, but he was a heavy metal motorcycle dude, something like out of Sons of Anarchy, and he was cool. I dug it. I thought it was great. Came out on the motorcycle. It was cool. And him going back to that for this particular feud with AJ Styles, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. AJ Styles not in the world of wrestling with where he's targeting his his promos. He is calling The Undertaker Mark. He's referencing Michelle McCool. He's making it personal. He's bringing the man out of the dead man. This isn't no gimmick. This ain't gonna be no games. You're pissing off the real dude inside the guy. That sounds kind of weird. You're pissing off the real dude inside the guy. Yeah, that didn't sound too good. But you understand what I mean. I don't know what's happening. Relax. Everybody relax. Don't give me that look and don't start making comments about the coffin, alright? It's nothing. I'm totally fine. 100% healthy. Calm down. I don't want to hear it. I just got something in my throat. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what it is. And it keeps wanting to come out when I talk. And it's just fucking annoying. Anyway, I apologize for all that. But I'm not sick. Don't worry about it. We're all good. The Undertaker comes out to Jerry the King Lawler and he flips the table because there's no contract there. And then we go to commercial. Then we come back from the commercial and they show a promo segment. And I'm thinking to myself, the Undertaker's just standing out there in the ring all this time. And whoever wrote this maybe is mad at the Undertaker. Like, why would you make the Undertaker start this off and then go to commercial and then have him standing out there doing nothing all this time? Anyway, it turned into a very good segment when AJ Styles revealed himself on the Titantron at the Performance Center after teasing The Undertaker a couple of times by playing his entrance music and not coming out. AJ revealed himself on screen and told us a great promo. One of maybe AJ's best promos so far. He once again was referencing that this is all the fault of Michelle McCool. He said that Taker carried the WWE for decades, but it's 2020 now, and Mark was an over-the-hill guy. You don't see Michael Jordan putting himself into the NBA Finals or Peyton Manning inserting himself into the Super Bowl, but it was WrestleMania season, so of course The Undertaker has to insert himself into AJ Styles' business. He said how angry it made him that The Undertaker cost him the ridiculous two-way trophy, big giant aggro crag ice sculpture trophy at the Super Shitdown. He then talked about how he cost him that match with Aleister Black and that The Undertaker was the one that actually started it. This was good stuff. This was very good stuff. Styles once again placed the blame on The Undertaker's wife. He said the Taker wouldn't be able to hide at WrestleMania. He also joked that The Undertaker is not able to run anymore. AJ Styles then offered to pay for his assisted living costs because he's going to finally make The Undertaker rest in peace. In my favorite portion of this whole entire segment, AJ Styles would then sign the contract, give it to his running buddies, Gallows and Anderson, and tell them to take it to The Undertaker, to which they both declined. They're like, no, we don't want to take this to The Undertaker, which pissed off AJ Styles, and he's like, who's the leader around here? What are you talking about? Why aren't you listening to me? Just shut your mouth and go out there and do what I say. And they did. And it was pretty good. We all knew what was coming next. Gallows and Anderson walked down to the ring. Before they even get there, the gong hits, the lights go out. As the lights go back up, The Undertaker is suddenly behind Gallows and Anderson like Michael Myers. He starts beating the snot out of them, as we would all imagine. He then signs the contract, and they stared daggers at AJ Styles, who watched everything, and we seen his face in real time on the screen, and I thought this was fantastic. And whether this was the WWE telling the world how they should be social distancing themselves or not, we will never know. All we know is this was good. This was good stuff. And if they would have done something exactly like this in front of a live crowd, I think it would have gotten a tremendous pop. And I'm liking the fact that they are taking The Undertaker in a different direction. We have seen him in the hat with the trench coat now. We have seen him lose in that so many times. He's been brought back as that Undertaker and devalued for super showdowns and greatest Royal Rumbles and all things that the Undertaker should have nothing to do with. And by hitting the gear shift and changing the character up just this little bit, it's going to do wonders. And it also probably won't hurt the Undertaker too much more if he loses to AJ Styles in that incarnation of his character. Most people are not as affectionate towards it as they are to the Deadman character, but we'll have to wait and see. This and the Edge Randy Orton stuff, the two best stories that the WWE got going right now. It doesn't really make me care all that much more about seeing AJ versus The Undertaker, but I do appreciate the fact that these guys are giving us some good television. AJ Styles is taking this seriously, and he did a great job tonight. And he hasn't been one for his promos as of late, but this one was very good. Thought it was great. After this, we got Rey Mysterio defeating the United States Champion Andrade with Selena Vega, of course, in a non-title match, of course. Again, Rey versus Andrade. Big deal. Who cares? But wait! Let's throw Asuka out there on commentary for no particular reason whatsoever. I will never understand this move. Whether it was just to make fun of Asuka, whether it was just, shooting on us, the fans at home. Maybe they were trying to jab us a little bit. Maybe they thought this was genuinely funny. I don't know who thinks this is funny, listening to some lady stammer on and just scream and be asked questions and give non-answers, and I don't understand what you guys find so amusing about all of it. It's bad enough we gotta watch Rey and Andrade right now. Maybe they thought it would make it new. Oh, well, it'll make it feel new if we have Asuka commentate the match. You got Asuka out there commentating the match, but you don't have Austin out there for the rest of the night. No, that's just, that's a big wrong to me. Big thing wrong. It did nothing to help the match. It was distracting. And to me, personally, it wasn't entertaining. If you liked it, good for you. I don't understand it. Literally and figuratively. I don't understand who thought this was a good idea. Because I don't think it was. It was ridiculous. I've seen so many people on social media. Oh, Asuka's so great on commentary. Are you fucking serious? Are you serious? Do you like watching somebody be brought out there to be a fucking clown? A former women's champion, a historic women's champion, a real talent in the ring. This is what you like seeing her reduced to. You find this so amusing, do you? I don't. Becky Lynch was the next on the promo train tonight. She said that her existence drives Shayna Baszler crazy because the fact that Shayna doesn't have the title doesn't make sense to the Queen of Spades. It hurts her head. Baszler thought she could bully her way through the ranks and make it all the way up to the top like she did in NXT, but as long as Becky was the one on top, Shayna's world didn't make sense. Lynch went on to say that Shayna Baszler don't make the same mistake as everybody else, meaning she was just overlooked by so many people for so long and nobody took Becky Lynch seriously, and they all ended up none the better for it. Becky Lynch then admitted Baszler's performance at the Elimination Chamber was a wake-up call to her, but at WrestleMania she wants to prove that Baszler's whole entire life was a lie and it was going to hit her like a truck. This, once again, was one of Becky's better promos that she's given in a while. We also seen Shayna Baszler watching this promo in the back, and the fact that she did not get physically involved or they did not have some sort of an altercation was just a huge surprise to me and just stupid. Stupid. Especially the way Becky was talking. She was talking down to Shayna Baszler very much in this promo. If she's watching in the back, why didn't she go out there like a pissed off rhino and try to tear Becky's arm off? Or as Becky's leaving the building, jump her from behind. Do something interesting. write some creative stuff like an entertainment company would do. Or like a wrestling company would do. You're not being either of the two right now. You're just kind of existing, which is kind of weird. But this was okay. I have a feeling like that truck was supposed to be part of this whole thing somehow before the night was over. But I don't know. If for no other reason, maybe she bought that truck herself. For herself. Maybe she's riding around in semis now because maybe she really thinks she's a man. I don't know. I'm just being funny there. We know Becky doesn't think that. But next up on the promo line, we had Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was in the back talking to Charlie Caruso. He's talking about Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, which we didn't get to see in any way, shape, or form other than promo packages and highlights from previous weeks. And I'm alright with that. I don't really care too much about Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. I feel like we've seen it way too much already, and the build for it has just been not exciting. It's had too many players involved, and I don't really care too much about it. But Kevin Owens tonight, once again, with a very good promo, because he was trying to make this match feel important. So he wanted to try to bring everything full circle, which he kind of did. And he said, you know, the Performance Center is very special to Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins never had the opportunity to be groomed in the Performance Center. I'm sure he's been there multiple times, but he has not trained the way Kevin Owens was trained. He was already on the main roster when the Performance Center was built and instituted, and it feels like home field advantage for Kevin Owens. He's going in there with something to prove. Because Seth was among all of the people who thought Kevin Owens didn't belong in the WWE. I don't know when that happened. I wish they would have showed us some of that stuff. I'm sure they got it somewhere if it actually did happen, but I don't remember that, if I'm being totally honest. And Owens was ready to make a new memory when he beats Rollins at WrestleMania in the same building he decided to earn his spot. Well, not decided to, but in the same building that he did earn his place in the WWE. And after that, we had Stone Cold Steve Austin come out. He told a bunch of lame jokes. And then Byron Saxton got involved for some reason. The announce team was shown multiple times reacting to Stone Cold's entrance because there was no crowd and they were standing there like three dumbfounded idiots. Look at Austin! Give me a break. This was a waste of Stone Cold. You had this guy come all the way to Orlando from his home in Texas, and you did nothing with him. Really. You could have had him film something at home. It would have been more entertaining than this. On that note, you had Edge. Edge drove 17 hours tonight. Well, last night, to be at Monday Night Raw to deliver that excellent promo. But all in all, he could have done that from the comfort of his own couch on his iPhone and sent it in. Didn't have to be in front of nobody. But the Austin segment turned into a Becky segment. And this is maybe too little too late. This is something they should have did with her right before WrestleMania 35 last year, when she was actually trying to be like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Becky Lynch shared a couple of beers with Stone Cold. Byron Saxton got stunned a couple of times. And that was it. That was the end of Monday Night Raw tonight. Monday Night Rumble, because that's what the majority of the show was, the repeat of the Royal Rumble. And that's all I got. Normally we go almost an hour talking about this shit, and I've wasted most of this time not even talking about the show, but talking about WrestleMania, talking about Vince McMahon, talking about a whole lot of other things, because there really wasn't all that much to talk about. But we covered all the good, mostly the bad, and before we wrap things up, for those of you who have been waiting patiently, the poop hammer. The poop hammer goes to Andrade, Mysterio, and Asuka. Because that was the worst. Not only was it a useless repeat match, but they made Asuka look like an idiot. And all you guys are laughing about it. I'm the one guy that wasn't. Thank you guys so much for joining in. It's weird, right, guys? It's weird. Like, I feel like even this review was kind of weird and a little bit just wonky because it's hard to review a show like this. It really is. Watching it in this form makes me not even want to sit here and do these reviews. There's just like, there's no energy to it. There's no life in this show. It doesn't even feel like a show. It feels like we're just watching WWE backstage for 3 hours. They could have done better. I expect better. And how they can view something like this after tonight and go, yeah, that, you know what, we'll go with that. From this point on every show, we'll just show some repeat match. And not even a good repeat match. So far, we got 2 shit matches they repeated on us. I don't care that it was a Royal Rumble. It was one of the worst Royal Rumbles. Sure, Drew McIntyre won, but the whole entire booking of that entire thing was a debacle. I didn't want to relive it again. The best part about it was Edge and Drew. We didn't get much of Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar tonight. That's going to be happening next week. If I even decide to be here next week with the way things are. Holy shit, man. Does it suck as badly as I feel like it sucks? And I know it's not their fault. I'm not saying that the WWE sucks. I'm saying just everything just sucks right now. We got no sports. Wrestling is ruined even more than usual. We don't know how long any of this is going to go on. I feel the most bad for all of the fans that already had things in place. You know, we're only a couple of weeks away from WrestleMania. You know, there were fans worldwide with tickets, hotel accommodations, tickets to WrestleCon, all the independent events that were happening in and around WrestleMania. That's what I feel bad for. I feel bad for Drew McIntyre, a guy that's going to go into the Performance Center, wrestle Brock fucking Lesnar in front of nobody, and end up winning the WWE Championship. His first WWE Championship in his career, and it's going to be won in front of crickets. These are not good things. It's not going to feel great to watch him win that championship and not hear the roar of the crowd. It's just part of the game. Watching a football game where no fans show up. It feels like nobody cares. Like a Raiders fan might understand how this feels. I'm sorry, Raiders fans. Cheap shot, I'm sorry. But you understand what I'm saying. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous right now. And I hope it gets better really fast. And I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are staying as isolated as possible. Keep your fucking hands clean, please. Wash them hands, man. That's all you gotta do. Wash your hands, cover your mouth, shut your ass, like Chris Jericho says. Like his new shirt says. Great new shirt from Y2J. And that's it. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Thank you guys so much. I'm trying to make this... I'm trying to stretch it out as much as I can. But you know what? Maybe it's just a sign that it's time for all of us to go get some rest. And I hope you guys have a happy St. Patrick's Day, as I know many of you guys will be spending that day drinking. Most any of you guys at home are probably doing it up, getting your corned beef and cabbage all burled up. Burled? Sounded like my grandma. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. That's good. Thank you all so much. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you slam that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Get us over the 2,500 mark. We are so painfully close that I can smell it. And all it takes is you hitting that subscribe button right now. Make sure that notification bell is rung as well. Share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world. Leave your comments down below about how are you feeling right now with all of the virus stuff. How are you feeling with the state of wrestling right now? What are your thoughts about WWE PC Mania that's going to be going down in a few weeks? Do you like my idea about maybe doing WrestleMania after it was all done? You know, when business gets back to normal, just postponement, not cancellation. Because everything's going to get back to normal. And they can literally hit the reset button whenever they want. So why don't they? What do you think? Let me know all about that down in the comments section, which as always is yours. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. Don't forget to check out everything else on the channel, like the Friday Night SmackDown review, AEW's Revolutions review, the Elimination Chamber review, and every other review that you need right here on your new favorite wrestling channel. That, my friends, is going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.